So, and then also I am going to share my screen so we can walk through this together. Great. Can everybody see the screen?
Yes.
Okay, great. All right.
Yes.
Okay. Actually, let me do something here. Makes this a little bit smaller so I can see. Nope. It's not gonna let me do it, so I'm just doing it this way. Okay, welcome folks. This is the Laser Talk training for the renter tax credit. Now, just as a caveat, the Laser Talk training is a longer training, and we teach you through the EPIC format. We're not going to have time to do that today, but if you want to learn the EPIC Laser Talk format, how to write your own Laser Talk, just go to that link at the bottom there, as well as the Laser Talk I'll do today, the one Lisa's doing in the other room, and all their other Laser Talks are available on our website in that first link that's linked there. So, how this is going to work, we're going to do what's called our fill in the blank Laser Talk exercise. And some of you have done this over the years. And for new folks, I'm going to explain how it works. This is designed to help you be able to learn to do this Laser Talk right here and right now. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to, in a minute, I'm going to show you a Laser Talk, and I'm going to read through it several times, and I'm going to mix it up each time I do it. And have you do something different each time as we go through it to help you learn the Laser Talk as we go along. And then at the end, hopefully, if we have time, maybe have a volunteer who's willing to do the Laser Talk for the group. So we're going to jump right in now. I'm going to go to the next slide. So here is the Laser Talk. And so for this first, let me get some things out of my here, let me do this. Oh, why this thing is not, I mean, it's covering my whole screen. I can't see it. So let me just try to do it. Okay. All right. Okay. So what I'm going to do this first thing is all I want you to do is listen. Just listen as I go through this. And just if any key facts or things jump out at you, just kind of note them in your memory. And then we'll go on to the next one after I'm done. So, a renter tax credit. The tax code provides billions in tax subsidies to homeowners, developers, businesses, and landlords, but almost nothing for the nearly 44 million Americans who rent. Even employed households are having trouble keeping up with skyrocketing rents. A renter tax credit would help. The credit would be targeted to rent-burdened, low-income households and paid out on a monthly basis, essentially capping out-of-pocket rent and utility costs at 30% of total income. This would allow low-income renters to afford a safe space to live without sacrificing their basic needs. And it would broadly benefit households that existing housing and homelessness programs are unable to serve, resulting in fewer evictions and fewer people experiencing homelessness. Stable housing is the foundation of financial security. Will you support using the tax code to target relief to renters with a renter tax credit? May we follow up with you with more details on how to use the tax code in this way? And what's the best way for us to follow up with you? So, first time through, everybody got it so far? All righty. So next I am going to, here, just a second, let's get this stuff. Okay, all right, so the next one here, this next iteration of it, I'm going to go through it, but on this one, I'm going to leave parts of it blank. And I welcome those of you, if we'll see how it works with the microphones, if you want to unmute your line, and as I call out, the parts that are blank, just shout out the names, just shout out the answer to each one, and then I'll give you the answer. So again, helping you learn what this is, how to, to be able to internalize this. So I'm going to go through it. I'll give you a prompt. You shout out the answer. All right. So the tax code provides billions in what to homeowners, developers, businesses, and landlords?
Tax subsidies.
Tax subsidies. Very good. Very good. But the tax code provides almost nothing for the nearly how many Americans who rent?
44
million.
44 million. Excellent. Even employed households are having trouble keeping up with what?
Rent payments.
Skyrocketing
Raising
rent.
tax.
High rent costs, skyrocketing rents. Very good. I would say after you do your answer, go back on mute so we don't get any background noise as I'm reading, and just come off mute when we're doing the answers. A renter tax credit would help. The credit would be targeted to what low-income households?
Rent
burden.
Rent-burdened low-income households. Very good. And paid out on what kind of basis?
monthly.
On a monthly basis. Very good. Essentially capping out-of-pocket rent, utilities, and costs at what percentage of total income?
30%.
30%. Very good. This would allow low-income renters to afford a safe place to live without sacrificing other basic needs. It would broadly benefit households that existing what kind of programs are unable to serve?
Homeless.
Housing and homelessness programs.
Housing and homelessness programs. Very good. Resulting in fewer what and fewer people experiencing homelessness?
Evictions.
Very good. Fewer evictions. What kind of housing is the foundation of financial security?
Stable housing.
Stable housing is the foundation. That's right. Will you support the tax code, using the tax code to target relief to renters with what?
A renter tax credit.
A renter tax credit. Excellent. May we follow up with you with more details on how to use the tax code in this way? And what's the best way to do what with you?
Follow up.
Follow up. And I put that blank in there because follow up is so important. So follow up. Okay. All right. Very, very good. All right. So what we're going to do now, third time through. This time I'm going to go through and I actually ask everybody, go back on mute. And this time as we go through it, I am going to do the same thing, give you the prompts, but I don't want you to say anything out loud. I just want you to think the answer in your head. Because then this way you're not relying on somebody else giving you the answer. You're internalizing it yourself and helping you learn the laser talk even better. So again, I'll ask the same prompts, but don't say anything, just think it in your head. And then I will give you the answer. So the tax code provides billions in what to homeowners, developers, businesses, and landlords? Tax subsidies, but almost nothing for the nearly how many Americans who rent? $44 million Americans. Even employed households are having trouble keeping up with what? Skyrocketing rents. A renter tax credit would help. The credit would be targeted to what households, what kind of low-income household? Rent burdened, and paid out on what kind of basis? A monthly basis. Essentially capping out-of-pocket rent and utility costs at what percentage of total income? 30%. This would allow low-income renters to afford a safe place to live without sacrificing other basic needs, and it would broadly benefit households that existing what kind of programs are unable to serve. Housing and homelessness programs, resulting in fewer what and fewer people experiencing homelessness. Fewer evictions. What kind of housing is the foundation of financial security? Stable housing. Will you support using the tax code to target relief to renters with a what? A renter tax credit. May we follow up with you with more details on how to use the tax code in this way? And what's the best way to do what with your office? Follow up. Very good. All right. Folks feel like they've got it? All righty. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go through it one more time. Let's see here. There we go. I'm going to go through it one more time. I'm just going to read it straight through and see what our time looks like here. Going to just read it straight through so you can hear it one more time. The renter tax credit. The tax code provides
It's available on the website, all these.
yeah,
those are-
yes, I'll note that and where to find stuff in a minute, Steve. Thanks. The tax code provides billions in tax subsidies to homeowners, developers, businesses, and landlords, but almost nothing to the nearly 44 million Americans who rent. Even employed households are having trouble keeping up with skyrocketing rents. A renter tax credit would help. The credit would be targeted to rent-burdened, low-income households and paid out on a monthly basis, essentially capping out-of-pocket rent and utility costs at 30% of total income. This would allow low-income renters to afford a safe place to live without sacrificing other basic needs. It would broadly benefit households that existing housing and homelessness programs are unable to serve, resulting in fewer evictions and fewer people experiencing homelessness. Stable housing is the foundation of financial security. Will you support using the tax code to target relief to renters with a renter tax credit? May we follow up with your office with more details on how to use the tax code in this way? And what's the best way to follow up with you? Okay. All right. So now I'm going to see if I can see folks now. Now I am going to ask, we've got just a couple of minutes left. Is there anyone out there brave enough to do the renter tax credit laser talk in front of the group? Anyone want to give it a shot? I will leave. Normally we would have you, if we were doing this live in a room, we would have you pair up and we wouldn't even give you any kind of notes. You just try to do it the best you can. No one's being graded. There's no good or bad way to do it. But obviously we can't do that in Zoom today. So if there's anyone who's willing to do it, I'm happy to leave the prompt up here for you as you go through it. Anyone want to volunteer? I guarantee you'll get an applause. Lynn Padalano from California. Very good. All right, Lynn. Here, let me, I'll go back up and fill in the blanks as you go along. So.
I have to tell you, I wasn't going to volunteer. The rest of you need to step up next time.
That's right. That's right. Well, thank you, Lynn. All right, go have at it.
Okay. The tax code provides billions of dollars in tax subsidies to homeowners and developers and businesses and landlords, but it provides almost nothing for the nearly 44 million Americans who rent. Even employed households are having trouble keeping up with skyrocketing rents. I'm sure aides in Congress know this too. A renter's tax credit could help. The credit would be targeted to rent-burdened low-income households, and it would be paid out on a monthly basis, essentially capping the out-of-pocket rent and utilities costs at 30% of total income. This would allow low-income renters to afford a safe place to live without sacrificing their other basic needs. It would broadly benefit households that existing housing and homelessness programs do not serve. And it would result in fewer evictions and fewer people experiencing homelessness. Stable housing is the foundation of financial security. Will you support using the tax code to target relief to renters with a renter's tax credit? May we follow up with you with more details on how to use the tax code in this way? What would be the best way to follow up with your office? Thanks.
Oh.
Very good, Lynn. Excellent. Everybody give her a hand. Way to go. All right, so I got the prompt. It looks like we're about to head back into the main room. So again, as to answer Steve's question, if you want to find this laser talk and other laser talks, go to this first link here on our website in the slide. And if you want to learn how to create your own epic laser talk, the second link would walk you through kind of the process for doing that. So I'm going to stop sharing.
Question for this.
Here.
Okay, no, I see that you answered how much $76 billion annually that it's going to cost, because that when we had a meeting with Senator Booker for our program, that was one of his costs. How much is this going to cost?
Sure. Yeah. It's not going to, it's going to require an investment. But when we compare that to other things that the government is spending money on, this is actually, you know, if we're going to provide millions of people stable housing, it's worth the money. That we spend.
So do we have a cost benefit analysis of the offsets that we're talking about for?
No, we're not.
billion?
We're not to that point. And we're this is just the start of our campaign on this. And so what we're trying to do is just kind of generate support for Congress to support using the tax code to help low-income renters. We haven't got a specific proposal out there. You know, Senator Booker hasn't even released his proposal yet so far. So
we're having our national convention, you know, in March. So I like to get that